how to be happy with yourself and life in general. Now, this is a huge question to just answer in one video, but I have some really helpful tips and a really helpful approach to do this so you can start implementing this today to help you be happy with yourself and happy with life in general. So my name is Chris Richardson. I'm a coach here at Life on Your Terms, and I make these videos here so you can do exactly that. You can live a life on your terms. So, how to be happy with yourself and life in general? Well, I think there's an approach that you need to take, and then with that approach, how do you support it? So it's kind of a two-piece approach or way to do things, but I think it's the best way. So I'm gonna get to that. But first, maybe you don't feel like you're happy, and that's why you're watching this video. That's where I encourage you to take the balance wheel in the description below, because in that, we're gonna look at your professional, we're gonna look at your relationships, we're gonna look at health, and we're gonna look at resources. And out of those four things, you're gonna be able to see where do you wanna improve, what things are really good, what do you wanna build upon, stuff like that. So it can be a helpful tool. So the first approach that you need to take is you need to identify your direction. In the past, I found myself aimlessly wandering, and I felt myself being upset and life wasn't as meaningful when I didn't have a purpose. And now my purpose is to empower others to live a life on their terms. Empower others to choose how they want to live and then figure out how to get there. That's my purpose, and that lights me up to be able to empower others because I felt a victim of circumstance. But once I identified my purpose, I'm more motivated. I feel like I can take on any obstacle. Things like that, it empowers you to do so once you have this direction and purpose. So a question you can ask yourself is, what is my purpose here on earth? And maybe you're having a difficult time identifying your purpose. That's totally okay. And the best way to find your purpose is to go try a bunch of shit. And I know that's maybe not the answer you're looking for, but that is truly how you find your purpose. I was blessed to be challenged at a young age and go through some pretty hard times myself, but it showed me exactly what my purpose was. It showed me that I do not want others to be a victim of circumstance or a victim of their life. I want them to be in charge of their circumstance so they can choose how they want to live their life. That's my purpose. And maybe it'll take you longer to find your purpose, but that's okay. I would encourage you, that's the first thing you do. Identify your purpose here on earth. Now, the second thing I would encourage you to look at is what matters most to you. Is it your family? Is it making money? Whatever it is, identify that. That'll give you more direction as well. Now, once you identify what matters most, identify what's your true north. What do I mean by true north? What are your values? What are your core values? What are your things that you're gonna stick to? Your true north. From there, what are you doing to make the most out of your life? I made the mindset shift of what am I doing to be happy? Because you know what? I'd be really happy to sleep in every day till noon. But am I making the most out of my life by doing that? Probably not. So I like to think about, instead of happiness, what am I doing to make the most out of my life? And think in that frame, and that can be helpful to not always trying to have this sense of joy or have this sense of happiness, because that's just not realistic. There's gonna be hardships, there's gonna be things you go through that you're not gonna feel happy. But if you feel like you're making the most out of your life, you'll be happy with yourself. Now, with these things, once you've identified the purpose, direction, stuff like that, do your absolute best. And I know that's simple, like what do you mean, Chris, do your absolute best? I mean, do your absolute fucking best in everything you do, no matter what it is. Laundry, I don't care, whatever it is, at your job that you hate, maybe you love your job, whatever it is, you do your best, because however you do one thing is how you will do everything. And only you know your best. But if you know you are doing your best, you're gonna be happy with yourself, and you're probably gonna be happy with your life because you are doing your best. Now, once you do that, set goals around your purpose and doing your best. Some helpful goals you could set: simply doing daily goals. I like to do a bullet journal. You can just search it up online. It'll kind of give you an example of a bullet journal. I like to do quarterly objectives. Those are helpful. And I like to do yearly goals. Now with those three things, I set them simply around fulfilling my purpose and doing my best at fulfilling my purpose. And I feel damn good about it. So that's something that can be very helpful. So you've identified your direction, but what about after that? How to support this approach is almost equally as important as getting on the direction, because it's easy to have a direction, but you can fall off it. So it's important we stay on it and support this direction. So how do you do it? Well, the first thing and the first question I'd ask you to think about is, what relationships do you want to have and how will they support your direction? So who are your friends you have? Are they supporting your direction and supporting your purpose? What about your family? How is that supporting your purpose and direction? How do you want that to look? How do you want to support your family? How do you want to support your friends? And how are they going to support you? Think about the relationships you want to have in your life and how they contribute to your direction. After you think about relationships, a simple thing you could do is practice gratitude and practice mindfulness. Gratitude, one thing I really like to do is just think about what's one thing I'm grateful for today. That really helps me reframe my mindset, helps me be happy with my life. And then mindfulness, that helps me bring me to the present, think about what's only in front of me, and that helps me focus on myself and my life in general, not in like a selfish sense, but just think about me in the present, not me in the past, not me in the future, not what I have to worry about in either of them, just what is the here and now, and I feel really good about that in life, and that's taking advantage of our time here will make you feel good about your life. So that's another thing you can practice. Now, another dangerous thing you can fall into is perfectionism. It's at least what I've found myself falling into in the past. How do you avoid perfectionism? Well, perfectionism means that you're only worried about what you're doing wrong. A perfectionist will be like, I will do all these things right, but if I have 1% wrong, I'll be worried about the 1% because I want to be perfect. So you need to flip that on its head. Instead of thinking about what are you doing wrong, you're thinking about what are you doing right. And if you really consciously try to override that, you will be able to override that. At least that's what I found in my experience. That's the process I went through, is every time I thought about something I'm doing wrong, I had to switch it to what am I doing right. Not that I didn't acknowledge what I was doing wrong, but I just had to switch it from the time being to get out of that perfectionist mindset, basically. Now, perfectionist is the goal, not being a perfectionist, but being perfect is the goal. I have to realize I'm never gonna get there. What is the goal and how I measure myself, or what I will attain, is the work is the goal. My quality of work and my quantity of work. Those are the two things that I will control and I will judge myself on. I will not judge myself on the outcome of it, if that makes sense. Now, after you avoid perfectionism, I think it can't go without saying that you need to look at health. That's gonna support your direction. What do I mean by health? I mean physical, I mean mental, and I mean spiritual. And how do those three look for you, and what do you want those to look like? Take a deep dive into your health, because that will support your direction, and you need to keep your health up here to be able to keep working on your direction and your purpose and being here on earth for the longest time that you can be. Now, once you've done that, I think another great reframe is forgiveness. Forgiveness of yourself and forgiveness of others. When I say forgiveness, I don't mean forget. I mean simply forgiving yourself for your past mistakes. Acknowledge what you did wrong, but forgive yourself. Don't carry that burden of emotions. And also forgiving others. Again, don't forget what they've done, but you don't need to carry the emotions with you. The way I see forgiveness is that you're not forgetting the actual act of what someone did, but what you are forgetting is the emotions relating to it. You're letting those be in the past, and you're gonna be able to move on with your life so that you can be happy and feel like you're making the most out of your life. So again, how to be happy with yourself and life in general. I know it's a huge question to answer in a 9-minute video, but hopefully I gave you a few helpful tips so that you can